Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into a huge paradox, one that really makes you stop and think. How on earth can we be facing a water crisis when we live on a planet that's literally swimming in water?
Okay, let's just jump right in. This question, it seems kind of ridiculous when you say it out loud, doesn't it? We call it the blue planet for a reason, and yet you see it all the time. Headlines about droughts and water shortages. So what is the deal?
And the stakes here are incredibly high. The prediction is that by 2025, which is right around the corner, nearly 2 billion people will be living in places with absolute water scarcity. That's a massive number. And this isn't some distant sci-fi problem. It's happening now, and it's getting worse.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack that water paradox. Then we'll get into the real reasons for the scarcity. We're going to look at this huge solution India tried, these temples, and see what went wrong. After that, we'll explore an ancient alternative that might just hold the key to a smarter future.
All right, let's start with the basics. We all know water is a renewable resource. It's always being recharged through the good old hydrological cycle. Evaporation, condensation, rain. So in theory, we should be fine. But you know how it is. Theory and reality are often two very different things.
And this is so important to get. Water scarcity isn't just about deserts getting no rain. That's the picture we all have in our heads, but it's not the full story. More often than not, it's a problem we've created ourselves. It all comes down to how we use, or maybe misuse, and share the water we've got.
Okay, so if it's not just about a lack of rain, then what's really driving this whole crisis? What are the real culprits?
This really lays it all out, doesn't it? You've got more and more people, especially in cities, all needing water. You've got massive farms sucking it up for irrigation. Then you have industries using it and polluting it. It's like this perfect storm where demand is exploding while we're also ruining the supply.
And here's the hidden part of the crisis, the quality. I mean, think about it. You can have a giant river flowing right by, but if it's full of industrial chemicals and pesticides, well, it's not just useless, it's dangerous. So just because the water is there doesn't mean you can actually use it.
So, faced with these massive problems, what do? Well, after independence, India decided to go big. They looked for a grand, sweeping solution. And the answer, it seemed, was to build. To build huge projects to tame the country's powerful rivers.
You can just feel the ambition and the optimism in this famous quote from India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Dams weren't just seen as infrastructure, no way. They were symbols of a new, modern, and powerful nation, leading itself into a prosperous future.
And on paper, wow, they promised the world. I mean, look at this list. These projects were meant to be the ultimate multitaskers. Water for farms, electricity for factories, flood control for cities, even recreation. They were sold as the silver bullet that would solve everything.
But, like a lot of stories that seem too good to be true, this one had a twist. The grand solution started to show some major cracks, and these modern temples suddenly became a huge source of controversy.
It turned out that for every big promise, there was a pretty serious peril. Damming up a river completely messes with its natural flow. It traps all the good stuff, the sediment that keeps the land fertile, it devastates fish populations, millions of people lost their homes, and the craziest part? The very structures built to stop floods were sometimes causing them.
You can really hear the heartbreak in this old folk song. It's a lament for a river that was once a source of life, but was turned into a river of sorrow by the very projects meant to help. It's a powerful reminder of the human cost behind these giant plans.
So as people started pushing back against these huge dams, they began looking for another way. And they found an answer, not in some brand new technology, but by looking back, way back into ancient wisdom.
And this is what's so incredible. Water harvesting is not a new fad in India. We're talking about thousands of years of genius. People developed these amazingly sophisticated ways to manage water that were perfectly suited to their local environment. This was all about working with nature, not trying to conquer it.
One of the coolest examples is rooftop rainwater harvesting. In dry places like Rajasthan, it's just so elegant and simple. As you see here, the rain gets collected on the roof, piped down, filtered through totally natural stuff like sand and bricks, and then stored safely underground in these tanks called tankas. It gave people clean drinking water when everything else was bone dry.
Okay, time for another modern paradox, a real head-scratcher.
Picture the wettest, rainiest places on the entire planet. You think they'd be the last places to have water problems, right? Well, what if I told you one of them has a huge shortage?
The answer is Shillong. Can you believe it? It's right near one of the rainiest spots on Earth, and the city still has a serious water problem. And what's their solution? That same ancient technique. Almost every house there practices rooftop rainwater harvesting. It's just proof that this old wisdom is as relevant as ever.
And if you're wondering if this small-scale stuff can really make a dent, just look at this village, Jendithor. With 200 homes all doing this, they collect 100,000 liters of water a year. 100,000! This tiny village is now known for being rich in rainwater. It just goes to show you the amazing power of local action.
So, after all that, where does it leave us? Is the lesson here that big dams are all bad and small-scale harvesting is the only way? Well, the reality, as we've seen, is a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, the real takeaway here isn't to pick one side over the other. There's no single magic bullet. The smartest path forward seems to be an integrated one, where we combine the power of modern engineering with the sustainable local knowledge of these traditional methods.
And maybe the most important insight of all is that beyond any dam or tank, the real key is us. It's about behavioral change. It's about a fundamental shift in how we think, moving from just being water consumers to being water guardians, to see it as the precious, finite resource it truly is.
And that really brings us to the final thought. This whole issue isn't just about massive projects or government policies, it's also about our daily habits. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What's one small water habit, one simple thing you could change in your own life starting today to be part of the solution?